Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 95 of Photo Critiques. And in Photo Critiques, people send me in some of their best images, and I critique each shot with suggestions on how they can improve it. And today, I'm pleased to critique the work of Azizul Syaiful. I hope I pronounced your name close. Azizul only sent me in 3 images, so it'll be a relatively short critique. This first one, when I first looked at it, I says, wow, it's real magenta and there's all this pink in here. But then I see he wrote magenta composition. So this is kind of the artist and the photographer. This is his artistic rendition of the shot. So to critique it, it's rather difficult because it's his artistic vision. It's something that, I don't think a critic should critique. And so in that regard, I see what he's trying to do, and he has the magenta throughout the entire picture, very strong magenta. The tilted perspective also, which a lot of people do, if you like it. The only thing I could say, this tree bleeding in, I'm not sure you really want that in there. In a way, though, it does kind of give a backstop as you're looking at the shot. It's tilted down, and then we have this tree here. So, and that, in one way I could kind of see it almost working. The magenta overall picture, what you might want to consider is if you wanted just a magenta sky and not have this kind of pinkish magenta look on everything else, kind of bleed over. So if you wanted to do something like that, you could use well, first of all, you would reset the color balance. Then you would use a graduated filter, and you would bring exposure down. You would bring the tint way over to magenta, and you'd add probably some contrast, and then you would draw the magenta sky in like that. And so that is kind of like the alternative, where you leave the beach more natural, if you were interested in doing that. That's all. So there's the original, there's the so it kind of, obviously it's a graduated filter, so you have less of the effect here, which is maybe where you want it. But it's just something for everyone else. If you want to do some types of effects, but you don't want it over the whole picture, always consider a graduated filter. You could always use then a brush too, if you wanted, and you could let me reset the brush. You would bring that way over to magenta, and you could get a way bigger brush. If you guys are wondering how to use Lightroom, I have Lightroom training videos on YouTube and on my website, anthonymorganti.com, that show you how to do all this stuff. So you could paint the magenta in there too, and you could, make it more a stronger effect that way also. So that way you leave the beach more natural looking, and you have it more just up in the sky. Of course, that's totally different than what Azizul had, but it's for everyone else if you're interested in doing some things to parts of your photograph and you don't want it to affect the entire photograph. Okay, just a suggestion for future shots if you're interested in it. This next shot, now this one's overwhelmingly blue. As you can see, the blue is so intense. Even the things that are really strong blue are even stronger blue. So, again, that's the artistic rendering of the photographer. So that's fine. The only thing I could talk about technically, typically when you have someone walking across the frame, you want them at the beginning of their walk into the frame. So they're walking into the bigger part of the frame. So that's kind of a rule that, I don't like calling them rules. They're more like suggestions. So you'd have the mother and son back here. Now, if you do want them walking out of the frame because that's your artistic vision, in this case I would back them up just a little bit, because the woman is just getting cut off by the frame here a little bit, and just back them up a little bit so they're not crowding the edge of the frame. And the main reason then, if you're going to ever do a print and you have to crop, you'll have room to crop, and you won't be cropping out part of the person. So just back them up just a little bit if that's what you want. You want them walking out of the frame. This last shot, we got this great bokeh back here, very blurry background. The only thing is the image itself of your main subject, which is this flower, is blurry also. It was let's see, 1/10 of a second at f of 5.6. So the f of 5.6 gave you the nice bokeh, but 1/10 of a second is really slow shutter speed. So if you didn't use a tripod or a monopod, you would get this kind of blurry look. So, again, use a tripod if possible. If you're going to shoot at, anything slower than like 1/60th of a second in this case, use a tripod and, get a nice focal point on where you want the person that's viewing the picture to look, which could be right in here somewhere. And make sure that this subject is the really tight focus, and then that would really pull off this shot. So that's it for Azizul. Thank you very much for sending me your images to critique. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name about 400 times. I'd like to thank everyone who watches all my videos and goes over to my website, anthonymorganti.com, and reads the articles and watches the videos over there. And if you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you went to YouTube and subscribed to my YouTube channel. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.